The Israeli government has had enough with the United Nations, ladies and gentlemen. And now they're considering leaving the UN. Why? Well, because they want to commit genocide in peace. I mean, they killed 34,500 people so far, innocent civilians, half of which women and children. What's the problem with the UN and the United States and Britain, France, EU states, Germany? What's their problem? You need to think what Israel's thinking. From their perspective, these countries, US, Britain, France, other European nations, other European countries, governments, they killed millions across the world. So Israel is upset with the fact that people are picking up on them killing merely 34,500 people. What is your problem? You killed 1 million in Iraq, you killed 1 million in Afghanistan, you killed millions in Vietnam. Let's not talk about World War II, okay? And Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nuclear bombs killing 200,000-300,000 in one go. So Israel is feeling like it's, being secluded here. Why? Why can you kill 1, 2, 3 million? I can only kill just a small percentage of that. I want to be able to kill freely. So they have a problem with the UN. And how are they having this problem? Well, Israel Hayom, an Israeli newspaper, they had an interview with the Israeli ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan. Gilad Erdan is one of the most racist people in Israel, okay? And you might have seen him in the UN, his speeches, his manipulation, barging in, out, and barking. He was asked during this interview, and note here, he did not rule out leaving the UN. That's something Israel is considering. He was asked, why doesn't Israel withdraw from the UN? After all, this organization causes us far more harm than benefit. As long as we are members, we must abide by its rules and are bound by its decisions. Wink, wink. He answered, this is a valid question. I too ask it in moments of great frustration and anger over the hypocrisy and double standards. The hypocrisy and double standards of the UN. But ultimately, I don't think leaving the UN will cause countries to say, oh, Israel left, so let's fix what needs to be fixed because it's not here. On the contrary, leaving would play into the hands of our enemies. But wait. And the arena would remain hostile. At the moment, leaving the UN is like boycotting the international media because it is against us. Boycotting the international media because it is against us. In the meantime, we have a platform to voice our opinions and try to persuade our allies, and we are using it. I agree with you that there needs to be a reform in the UN's relations with Israel regarding all its operations in the Middle East. But it needs to happen after the war. Only if we fail in it and all alternatives are exhausted will there be a need to consider that. Will there be a need to consider that, meaning consider leaving the United Nations? So, not the UN saying Israel is a state that shouldn't be in the UN because it's committing a genocide. He's disregarding the fact that the UN has so many resolutions against Israel. And they haven't implemented anything really, all ink on paper. They have resolutions supporting a Palestinian state, refugees' right to return, hailing the Palestinian uprising, calling nations to support the Palestinian resistance in the UN, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing implemented. Half of the US vetoes were for the sake of Israel, to enable them to commit genocides. But Israel is unhappy. Regardless of that, Israel is unhappy with the UN and with the fact that the UN isn't letting them commit a genocide peacefully.